Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the webinar on the digestive health and some of our probiotics and enzymes. We really appreciate you joining us today. So just a few housekeeping items. We'll just first of all let you know that we are recording this webinar, so we will post it to our YouTube channel, and we'll also send out a follow-up email with the link, so you can go back and review anything today on your at a time that's convenient for you. Also, we are going to be doing these webinars every month, the second week of every month, so I'll cover the details on the next one at the end of the webinar, but just wanted to give you a heads up that this is going to be happening on a regular basis. So also, if you would like us to tailor a webinar specific to your store and to the products that you carry, please let us know. We're more than happy to do that anytime. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar, so please be sure to type your questions in the questions box. It's in that panel to the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll answer those in the order that we receive them. And then also, right under questions, you'll see there's a link to handouts. So there you will find a PDF of the presentation today, and then also product cards for the products that we're going to be covering. So let's jump in. An overview on our plan today. We'll do some introductions on who is presenting. We'll have an overview of Mount Angel Vitamins, what we're about. And then we'll dive into a bit of information on the gut microbiome. Why is it important? How does it impact not just your digestive health, but also your brain and your immune system? Some pretty interesting research happening out there, and some great projects that you can even get involved in. So, so look forward to that. And then going through a few of our products, a probiotic, a couple of different enzymes that we make, and then also betaine. And we'll jump into the Q&A and then the follow-up information at the end. So who are we? My name is Catherine Douglas. I'm the marketing director here at Highland, and also on the line is John Mills. He's our director of quality and compliance. He joined Highland Laboratories, which is the Mount Angel Vitamins parent company, back in 1994. So he's been in this business for quite some time. He has some great experience. So again, please answer those questions or ask those questions, because he will be very happy to answer those. So who are we? Who is Mount Angel Vitamins, and what are we about? There are basically three pillars that that we're built on. So the first one is that we're simple. We know that the vitamins and supplement space is very overwhelming, especially for people who are new vitamin or supplement users. It's a little bit difficult to sort of wade through the space and understand what you should be taking or shouldn't be taking, or what you can take together. There's just so many questions. So, you know, what we do, instead of giving 12 different options for a multivitamin, we have one good multivitamin. We also have a prenatal, and so we just try to keep it as simple as possible and basically direct you to this really great baseline product. And then also it's sort of following what the market's doing. You'll see that if you follow any of the statistics, you'll see that the U.S. market is showing a change in heavy users, people who take 6 or more supplements a day, down to light users, so people taking 1 or 2. So again, we're just trying to follow that trend and just really simplify the space and provide some really high quality, comprehensive products. Proactive is another pillar, basically because we want to help you proactively manage your health and wellness. We have a tendency in our culture to just respond to our body when something goes awry. We're very good at treating conditions in this country, but often not so good at proactively supporting our body's natural responses. So you can supplement, and then there are also other natural ways to help support your body to do what it's already doing naturally. And we will always promote things like exercise and a healthy diet before supplements, but of course, we're there to help you supplement your diet if it comes to that. And then wellness, because we believe that your wellness is so much more than just physical. We take a very holistic approach. It's emotional, social, financial, spiritual. Obviously, our products support your physical and your emotional functions, but we also want to be a part of those other areas of your life too. So on our blog, you'll find things like recipes that are really simple and easy to make and healthy. You'll find ways to help improve your morning routine, ways to help manage your time, simple stretches to help improve your circulation and your mobility. So, you know, it's not just about our products, it's about your wellness as well. So what is the microbiome? So it is all the 100 trillion plus microorganisms that live in and on your body. So on the surface of your skin and in the layers of your skin, in your saliva, in your eyes, in your gastrointestinal tract. So when we talk about the gut microbiome, that's what we're referring to. All the microorganisms that live from your throat down to your colon. Every one of us has a very unique gut microbiome. And it's believed that your gut microbiome has impacts on your health, your digestive health, your brain, your immune system, all of the things that you have eaten, any antibiotics that you've been exposed to, they all play a part in how your gut is structured. So they used to believe that this began after we were born, but they now believe that it begins to happen when you're still in the womb. So it's just a really amazing phenomenon to look at. Why is that important? What do these gut microorganisms do? Well, they do three main things. They help produce vitamins that we can't make on our own. They help extract nutrients from our food, and they also support immune system and inflammatory responses. And so it's believed that any changes in the microbiome, particularly in the gut microbiome, are linked to numerous diseases and metabolic disorders. There's a bunch of research underway in this area. It's a really hot topic at the moment. Some of the government, academia, and food industry organizations that are doing this research include the National Institutes of Health, Dannon, NYU, UCLA, who are specifically researching the interactions between the GI tract and the brain. So all of these organizations are working to find breakthroughs in medicine and in agriculture. There's also the Knight Lab at the University of California, San Diego, named after Rob Knight. He's a pretty interesting guy. If you're interested in this topic, you'll want to read up on him. He is a New Zealand scientist, he was born and raised in New Zealand and then educated there through his bachelor's degree. He's now based in the US, and he's involved with a few different projects. One of them is the Earth Microbiome Project, which finds and analyzes microbes on anything, on feces and lizards and keyboards and phones and faces. He's basically looking to find links between microbes, and health. So not just human health, but animals as well. So that kind of led to the Human Microbiome Project, which is funded by the U.S. National Institutes of Health, and they're sequencing all of the microbes that live in and on humans. And then he's also involved in the American Gut Project, which is far beyond the scope of this webinar, but it's relevant to what we're discussing today. They're basically researching all the different kinds of microbes in each of our bodies, particularly in the gut. So for the small fee of $99, you can get a swab kit in the mail. You can swab various parts of your body and then send it back to have it sequenced. Your data becomes part of the study, but you also get the results in an online portal. You get to compare your microbes against those of the general population. So this gentleman, Rob Knight, did a great TED Talk. So if you have a chance to look that up online, it's kind of fun to watch. It's how our microbes make us who we are. So in any case, just want to let you know that there is a great deal of research being done right now, and this looks like it's going to be one of the biggest food and supplement trends coming down the pipeline. The connection between your gut microbiome and your overall health, your digestive health, your brain health, your immune health, it's all connected. It's pretty impossible to cover all of that in a short webinar, and of course we're here to talk about the Mount Angel Vitamins products, but if you have some spare time and want to look into it more online, it's really interesting to see what's happening out there on this topic. So with that, I will pass to John Mills, who will run through some of our products that support your digestive health. John, take it away.
Thank you. The first product we're going to be looking at today is our Good Flora Probiotic, which is it's a nice product. It is it's not one of the giant products you find in the market today where they look at a 50 billion count per capsule sort of a thing. This particular product is designed around 2 billion counts of bacteria, which is pretty typical for use within the body. When you start getting to higher dosing, this is the interesting part about probiotics, is that your body has an established set, as Catherine mentioned, that this is starting actually in the womb from your mother. And we typically inherit our biomes, microbiomes, from our mothers, as opposed to our dads or anyone else in the marketplace or anyone else in our lives. But this particular product supports the one that exists for you, because these are normal bacteria that are found in products such as yogurts or other fermented type foods. And that's the whole goal in this particular product, was to try to identify a product which supported a specific region of the intestinal tract. We're going to get into areas that support the stomach and the upper portion of the intestinal tract later in this seminar, but right now we're looking at a microbial product, a probiotic product, which supports essentially everywhere from the jejunum through the large colon, which is the lower half of the small intestine through the large colon. So we're looking at bifidum bacteria, and we have two different strains of bifidum present. And then we also have Lactobacillus acidophilus present in this. And the idea behind that particular combination is that these are the fermenting type bacteria. All of them have a positive health benefit. They all have been long history of study associated with human health. And so these guys are always present in some form in your intestinal tract, in some special form. If you start getting above about the 2 billion mark, it's a washout. The bacterial component is not really realized by the body so much. It becomes more displacive. In other words, it takes and displaces other materials that are in that digestive tract. The idea behind this particular product is we are supporting the digestion system for your body. The Lactobacillus acidophilus is found everywhere from the throat area, the esophagus, all the way through to the colon. But the bifidum largely is associated with the colon, the lower portion of the intestinal system. The fructooligosaccharides that are present are what are referred to as prebiotics. Prebiotics meaning that they are food for bacteria, food for the positive probiotics that are in your body. We also have a champignon mushroom that's in this particular product. And the studies that are associated with this particular one all came out of Japan. In Japanese society, there is a real push towards inoffensive behavior, non-offending behaviors, and having strong colon odors, for lack of a better term, but strong body odors associated with your digestive system is considered offensive, is considered an insult to others. And so they worked very hard at trying to develop a product, material that was deodorizing, that would actually help to decrease the odor load of your digestive processes, digestive system. And the champignon mushroom is what they found. Now, champignon mushrooms are the little button mushrooms, the white button mushrooms that are commonly found in our diets. But this is a particular extract we're using. It's a 100-to-1 extract, so it's focusing heavily on everything within that particular mushroom, which is non-fibrous. So that's this particular product. It was designed for digestive health, digestive support rather, and having that unique characteristic associated with it as well. Now, as with most, if not all, probiotic products, there's going to be some milk present. Milk products tend to stabilize the bacteria and increase their shelf life. And that's one thing I would like to point out about this product, is that it has a solid year's shelf life without refrigeration. And so you can purchase it, you can keep it on your store shelf, the customer then can keep it in their cupboard shelf without ever having to refrigerate it, as long as they do take the product appropriately. It means to say that they take it to exhaustion of the bottle. The other, if they want to keep it longer, they do need to refrigerate it at that point to help preserve the microbial content. The next product I'd like to talk about is digestive enzymes. This particular form is a vegetarian format. It uses five different enzymes. You can see it's a proteolytic enzyme, being papain and bromelain. It has a starch digester, amylase enzyme. It has a fat digesting enzyme, the lipase, and it has a cellulose digesting enzyme, cellulase. The idea behind this particular product was that it approaches the total vegetarian need for digesting plant materials. The total vitamin load that's in a plant cell wall is trapped essentially by the cellulose. So that's where the cellulase comes in this particular material, this particular product. The proteolytic enzymes are two very nice proteolytic enzymes, papain from papaya plants and bromelain from pineapple. Both of them are natural fruit-sourced enzymes. The bromelain has other properties. We've talked about that before in other seminars, but the bromelain has a very nice property in the digestive process. It's a non-specific proteolytic enzyme, but if you take this on an empty stomach, the body does absorb the proteases independently of your digestion system, and it does utilize proteases in helping to rebuild muscle and helping to increase its arterial support for helping to maintain the arteries and the veins of the body. Very nice product as far as the bromelain and papain go, and the amylase, lipase, cellulase. Again, this is a vegetarian form, and the tablet, and we're using a tablet form here, but the tablet is designed to digest, is designed to fall apart very easily in the stomach. Now, what's interesting about these enzymes is they're all acid stable, so you don't have to do an enteric coating on them in order to keep them alive. These are all, the amylase, lipase, and cellulase are fungal enzymes, and fungal enzymes have a stability in an area around pH of 1, so they do survive quite well in the stomach. The next product we have is our super enzymes, which in my opinion is probably the best enzyme product in the marketplace today. The only negative that's associated with this product is that it is an animal source. It is not a vegetarian source material. This particular product, though, the enzymes that are used are almost identical to that of humans. So if you need something which is going to act the same way your own body's enzymes do, then this is the product you want to take. The bromelain has some nice properties, but it doesn't digest proteins in the same way that human-based or animal-based enzymes will digest proteins. Papaine's a nice enzyme. If you're looking back at the previous slide, papaine's a nice enzyme also, but it doesn't digest in the same way that animal-based enzymes digest. And with this particular product, we are using a pancreatic complex that has a delayed release coating on it, so that it can survive very easily in the stomach. It can move through to the over the duodenum into the intestinal tract and activate where these enzymes would normally be located. So it creates an environment which is very normal for the human body to experience. This particular product is used by a number of individuals who have some digestive challenges in their bodies. The owner of this company has had a problem with his pancreas, and the pancreas began to autodigest. And so he uses this product now exclusively to support his digestive system. And he reports to me very frequently that this is one of the best things he's made a decision to not only have manufactured at Highland, but also then to utilize as part of that process, part of his daily living. The pancreatic enzyme complex, again, is comprised of pancrelipase, pancreatin, and diastase. All of them, again, all of these are animal-based enzymes. Pancrelipase is comprised mostly of trypsin and chymotrypsin, chymotryptic enzymes. These are a family of enzymes which are very targeted at very specific amino acids on the protein sequences. We also include a little bit of betaine hydrochloride in here, which is outside of that delayed release. We want the betaine hydrochloride to be activated in the stomach. We also have oxbile salts present to mimic the the bile duct and the generation of cholic and deoxycholic acids that the bile generates and kicks into the intestinal tract. Those are absolutely essential for absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. If you do not have cholic acid or deoxycholic acid present in your diet or in the bile duct as it discharges, if you are missing your gallbladder, then it becomes more important for you to have cholic and deoxycholic acid to absorb fat-soluble vitamins. Also, we have an acid-stable protease present in this particular product. We used to have a pepsin, and the pepsin was a product that was isolated from pig stomachs. We ended up with a concern relative to some issues that came out back in the 80s with any of the porcine stomach isolates. So we went to an acid-stable protease. And the interesting part here is that initially I had a lot of pushback on the product when I reformulated this particular product to go to the acid-stable protease. The individual said, well, this doesn't mimic the animal. This is not congruent with the rest of your formula. And I said, yes, I understand, but as I explained the problems that were associated with it, they said, okay, well, I'll give it a try. And they came back later and they said, John, whatever you do, please don't change this formula again because this works better now than it's ever worked before. The acid-stable protease is a really unique material in that its activity, not its stability, its activity occurs at a pH of 1, between 1 and 3, which is normal for the stomach when it is food or other beverages in there or something in there which then causes the stomach to pH to change in the stomach. pH of the stomach is normally 1. It runs up to about 3 when you start eating food. And it's that low pH, that acidic pH, which then allows for this acid-stable protease to go to work. And it works in the similar fashion to what the pepsin did. We also have papain in here. Again, we like papain. Papain's a nice enzyme, a nice protease to utilize, and it adds more proteolytic activity. And as you can see, it sits outside of that acid-resistant, the delayed release portion, because it is also acid-stable. And then we have a blend of a few other ingredients present, which lend to this particular product a unique calming effect on the intestinal tract, as well as a support for just general feelings of well-being. So that's this particular product. It's a synergistic product. If I were to take out any one of those main ingredients in here, the product would definitely lose efficacy and would not have the benefits that are commonly associated with it at this time. Once again, you can use this product either on an empty stomach. If you do use it on an empty stomach, then what you're looking at is absorbing those enzymes separately and utilizing the proteases in your body for general well-being of the body, the muscle support, arterial support, the whole idea of the cardiovascular support. If you do use this food or use this just prior to eating food, then it will give the capsules a chance to fall apart. It takes about 15 minutes for a capsule to begin dissolving. And once it's dissolved, then the contents are released into the stomach area. And with food present, then they would move it on over into the intestinal tract. And so act in that particular fashion there as a digestive product. Or you can take it following a meal, although I don't normally recommend taking it following a meal. The first part is you want to take it during the meal or just before the meal. That's the best utilization of this particular product. So we have those are the three main products that we have to talk about. As far as the digestive or the intestinal support, I'd like to talk now about the stomach. The stomach is a critical organ that is involved in total digestive health, and all of us know that the stomach is an important piece of our digestive tract. That's where the acid comes into play. That's where all the activity starts out. That's where the food is macerated and mushed up and to make a slurry of material so that the digestive, the intestinal tract, the enzymes and all that can get into and act on all the rest of the stuff. If the stomach acid content is not up to snuff, then then it creates a real problem for your proper digestion, proper nutrition. So this particular product is focused on stomach acid and supporting the stomach in that generation of acid. There are reasons for individuals who experience stomach discomfort, and there's two instances. If your stomach is not generating acid at an appropriate rate, meaning it's a low stomach acid, you will experience stomach discomfort. If you are having too much acid, then you will experience stomach discomfort. Unfortunately, in our society today, when people experience stomach discomfort, they're associating that exclusively with increased acid production. And so they go to the doctor prescribes to them an acid reducer, and if they're already in that decreased acid function or a decreased acid level, it just makes it worse. So if you believe that you have a problem with your stomach acid, I highly recommend that you talk to your naturopath, because naturopaths typically will recommend having a stomach acid check, and they have processes and methods that they can use to do that. If you're not willing to go to the doctor and you just want to try it on your own, then normally what I'd recommend is getting a small bottle of a 100-count bottle of the betaine hydrochloride, and then prior to a meal, take 1 capsule, and then have your meal. And if you feel like that seems to help a little bit, then I would try to do that for a week first. And then if that seems to help a little bit, then try 2 and see if that helps even more. And if that does help, then you found your solution then, and you can move forward from there. If it doesn't help, then and if you go to 3 capsules and it still doesn't help, then I recommend that you see a doctor for sure, because it may be that you are generating too much stomach acid at that point, and you do need to potentially have some assistance done with that. We have used in this particular product, as you can see, we have 649 milligrams of betaine hydrochloride. Now, in the old pharmacy application, that would have been called 10 grains. And so each capsule has these 10 grains of betaine hydrochloride present, and also contains 2 grains, 130 milligrams, of acid-stable protease. Again, back to the acid-stable protease. Acid-stable protease, again, is very stable when it's inactive in an acid environment, hence inside the betaine hydrochloride. It's perfectly happy in that capsule. So when you do bring it into your stomach, you do ingest this product, it will do a very nice job in that once it's hydrated in the stomach, it will begin going to work as a protease. And it does work very nicely in that respect. As you can see down at the bottom there, these are green capsules. The green in that capsule shell is a natural green. It is from chlorophyll. And chlorophyll has its own host of wonderful properties associated with it. You can go online and read all to your heart's content about chlorophyll and how chlorophyll acts in your body. But in this particular case, we used it for a different reason. Betaine hydrochloride has an off odor, and we have found that the chlorophyll capsule actually helps to reduce that odor, so it makes it a little more pleasant to ingest, not quite as strong a scent associated with it. That's our chlorocaps that we're using in this particular product. And that brings me to the end of my talk. Are there any questions?
I'm glad you covered that chlorocap, because that came up, so thank you for reading our minds. That was great. So one of the things that you mentioned earlier is mood is affected by what you eat. Can you explain a little bit more about how that happens?
Sure. There is, in the intestinal tract, there is a nerve which connects directly to the brain. So what you eat, it affects your mental capacity and your emotional capacity. The mind is, where all of our mood centers are. I know it feels like it's in your heart, because whenever you go through distress or pain or discomfort, the heart reacts, but that's the nerve impulse coming back from the brain. But there's a nerve called the vagus nerve, which runs from the intestinal tract straight to the brain. The reason for that is the probiotics, the bacteria that are the microbiome that lives inside of you all the time, is constantly kicking off, for lack of a better term, neurotransmitters, small chemical moieties, small chemical molecules that are that communicate. They communicate with each other. The bacteria communicate with each other that way. They also communicate with your cell walls. As you saw, as what Catherine mentioned earlier, they produce vitamins. Biotin is one of those vitamins which is produced largely in your intestinal tract, and that's why there are very few people in the world who have a biotin deficiency. The only time that occurs is when the person has been on heavy antibiotics, where the entire microbiome has been destroyed in the gut. But that nerve, the microbiome, the probiotics that are inside the intestinal tract are discharging. They're kicking out these small molecules that are then communicating with your brain. They run signals up to your brain. They affect directly mood. This is all the most recent research that came out. There are some very specific strains of bacteria which can change how you feel. You feel good, or if you're missing them, you feel sad, kind of a thing. Then also the enzymes themselves, proper digestion is absolutely critical for mood. Because that's what's liberating some of the components that are in foods to allow for you to have that nutritional side and have those feelings of well-being as a result of being fully nutritioned, having all the nutrition you need in order for you to function appropriately in life.
So on that topic, then, are there some specific foods that would improve your gut health and help benefit, obviously, the rest of your body too?
Yes, the fermented foods are probably the best for that application. When you look at a fermented, and I'm talking about non-pasteurized fermented foods, pasteurized foods lose the bacteria component of it, the microbial component of it. If you go to a pasteurized form, then you'll have some of the digested parts of the bacteria present, but you don't have any of the bacteria that can affect your body. So the dairy ferments, so you're talking about yogurt, some sharp cheeses, believe it or not, cheese. If you're looking at being a total vegetarian, vegan in this process, then you need to go to kimchis, the kimchi family of products, or sauerkrauts. Nearly every culture in the world had a fermented food that they ate. You talk about kefir, yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut. All of those types of foods support the microbiome in the intestinal tract of the body. They support your health in the body. The more of those that you can eat, the actual healthier your microbiome is going to be.
Very cool. Can you take the probiotic and the enzymes together? Do you recommend that? And what is the benefit of having both of those in your?
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, you can take them both together. I normally recommend taking a probiotic with the food because probiotics do not like being in acid components. And when they first get hydrated, they get shocked. And so it's nice to have something around them to buffer them. And the best buffers you can do are foods because foods will absorb a lot of acid and so decrease the amount of injury done to probiotics when you take them. So normally I recommend taking the probiotics with the meal and the enzymes just before the meal. And when I say just before, I mean within 5 to 10 minutes of eating, and that should be enough to keep it at the front side of the stomach and then liberate it in time for digestion as the food goes through the duodenum into the stomach. The bacteria don't mind the enzymes. They're used to seeing the enzymes around them all the time. So they just kind of like move right on past that area and not without a worry at all. The more bigger, that's a horrible way to say that. The area of more concern to me is what you're eating with the food. For instance, if you ingest strong alcohols, such as whiskey or scotch or something like that, those will denature, they inactivate the enzymes and they kill bacteria. So if you are interested in consuming an alcoholic beverage while you're eating, the two other beverages which are better would be something like a wine, but I would recommend reducing the amount of wine you would drink because that typically runs over 10% alcohol. or beer, which typically runs around 5% alcohol. Those two are going to be less injurious to the probiotics or the enzymes, either one, but they're still going to do some denaturing of both of those. They will still terminate some bacteria and they will still denature some enzymes.
Last question, you mentioned that ours is a shelf-stable probiotic. Is there a big difference between a refrigerated and a shelf-stable probiotic? And if so, what is that difference?
Well, it's typically in the way you formulate it. For myself, whenever I'm looking at creating a probiotic, and that's something that Catherine and I have been discussing lately, is actually creating a new probiotic to add to our line. But whenever you create a probiotic, in order to assure a shelf-stable material, you have to do two things. The first one is, and probably the more important of the two really, is that you put an abundance of bacteria present. So when you claim 2 billion counts on the label, you're really putting in 3 to 4 billion counts in the capsule. The reason being that you want to make sure that the bacteria survive to that 1-year shelf life time, or however long you're putting it. Now, you can always extend that time by putting it into a refrigerator, because the refrigerator doesn't allow for minor activation of the probiotics that are sitting on a shelf. And the warmer it gets, the more likely they are to activate. So the difference then is, if I were to do a refrigerated probiotic, I would only put in maybe 10% over. So I would put in 1.1 billion for a 1 billion count capsule. Whereas in a 1 billion count capsule today, I'm putting in 2 billion counts of bacteria. I'm putting in twice as much. The second part of the process to assure shelf life is putting in stabilizers. Stabilizers are things like vitamin E, or something which keeps the oxygen loads down. Vitamin E does that. Something else would be, you could also put in a prebiotic, such as fructooligosaccharides, that helps to buffer and protect the probiotic a little bit more. And then in these lactobacillus materials, all these fermenting ones, adding milk or a milk isolate such as whey to the material can help to stabilize them as well, because it provides a capacity for the bacteria, a buffering capacity for the bacteria, so they aren't quite as isolated as what they might be if they were just sitting by themselves in a capsule. So the twofold approach is how we come to making probiotics. We use stabilizers as well as a superabundance of material in each capsule.
Thanks, John. That's all the questions that we have, so I guess we'll just run to the next slide and wrap this up with some information. We have some contact details here for Jody in our office here in Oregon, who looks after the Mount Angel Vitamin line. So if you're interested in learning more about that, feel free to get in touch with her. And then also we have a new website which launched on the 1st of November. So it's brand new. It has a great deal of information, a great blog, links to all of our recorded webinars, links to sign up for the future webinars. It's just really great to have a look through that and see all the information that you can find. And of course, all of our contact information is there. So if you need to answer some more questions that you can't find online, feel free to reach out to us. We have a number of social media sites that we are on. So Mount Angel Vitamins is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. We also have the YouTube channel to which we are posting all of these recorded webinars. So it'll be a great little educational portal for anybody to look back on and learn more about the products. Highland Laboratories, which is our parent company, is on Facebook and Twitter, and then also on LinkedIn. And then just a quick note about the next webinar on December 15th. We'll be doing one on weight wellness, detox cleansing to gear up for resolution season in January. So mark that on your calendars. There's a link on our website if you'd like to sign up now, and we'll also send out an email here in the next couple of weeks to start getting registered for that. So thank you to everybody for participating today, and we look forward to seeing you on December 15th.